Hi everyone, my name is Leyla Salvade. I'm the founder of Standing Light. Welcome to the LightStyle interview series. Today I'm so elated to have Sah D'Simone, an incredible transformational coach and meditation teacher, and most importantly, one of my dearest friends. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
We've had you here often, but not in this setup.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. Thank you.
Of course.
So what's up? What are we doing? What are we talking
Well,
about?
we're shining a light on you.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, my love.
Hi, baby.
Hi.
So your story, your journey, like so many of us incredible change makers, especially here in New York, is just one that is so powerful. And I want you to share that and explain a little bit of what brought you to where you are now and where you started, because it's a lot.
Okay. Where do I begin? Like Brazil or fashion,
The
Sah?
beginning, wherever you feel like it.
Okay. Wow. Thanks for this question, by the way.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I've always been that weird, strange kid who was like playing with the Ouija board and wanting to know about spirits and mystical things and things that weren't the norm. I, wore the things a little bit different, had the high-pitched voice, walked. All the things were kind of off. So that set me off in a way. I was like, okay, this is interesting about me, and I have to honor that. So Brazil was a trip.
You were born there.
I was born in Brazil. So growing up in Brazil was to say the least, it was a very learning and healing experience. I'm still working on that healing path because my dad's side of the family is Lebanese, traditional Lebanese. So that put a lot of weight on
I'm Lebanese as well, that's why.
Yeah, on how I was raised. And my dad's dad never said the word I love you to him, so that was carried out through the family and how he perceived love to us. And then my mom's mom committed suicide when she was 13. So then there was this like no love and so much love. It was this like both extremes were coming together. And when we were growing up, it was very interesting because they were trying to give us things instead of doing the actual human exchange, the human interaction. So it was really, yeah, exactly, the nurturing. That it's very important. Now that you study the ACE adversary child experiences and how that scientific research plays out in later life, I see a lot of my old addictions and a lot of my chemical imbalances and chronic depression, which we'll talk about later, how it all had a inception at that age, right? Because there was so much about things and it wasn't this. But now, to round up the Brazil story, when I was 16, Dad is like, oh, let's go to Disneyland, and then turned out to be a 15-year journey. So growing up in Brazil, we were like a high middle class within, but on the outside looked like we were this big thing because Dad had stores all over South Brazil and Grandpa was this really well-established businessman. And then moving to America as an immigrant and then having to start at the bottom of the chain, cleaning houses, construction, and not only that, but on top of all of it, me discovering myself sexually. So trying to play the game of being like, am I straight, am I gay, am I straight, am I gay, what the fuck am I doing? How do I navigate this world?
It's already hard enough, and then to have that. It's like
oh my God,
level.
And then not only that, then you add the layer of Florida on top of all that shit.
So how old, so you moved to
Florida, to Tampa, Republican capital, gorgeous beach, beautiful people. However, the mindset was very diminished by this very contracted approach to life. So I was 16. Okay. So I went to high school in Florida for 4 years. And the moment I could, I got the fuck out of there and left for LA. Because Florida was very hard, being like, I understood English completely, but I didn't speak as clearly. And my sister immediately fell into the cool kids group. She was like a cheerleader. And I was hanging out with all the druggies, with all the outsiders, right? So I was in that vicious cycle of, partying and drugs and alcohol, and still trying to play this role of like, having a girlfriend and like all the stuff that was just like a mask after a mask after a mask, that I was like, this is insane that I'm like living this way. So the moment I could, I left. So I went to LA. And
at what age was that?
I was 19. And then I moved to Los Angeles with Patrick, Gabe, Tiffany, and then later Christopher Pacheco moved in. So Christopher Pacheco was, oh my God, maybe it's too many names right now.
Stick to you.
Yeah.
We can have that.
Yeah, no, this was like a great group of friends. So
Yeah.
all we did was just like explore the party scene a lot. And that's when I really started to explore myself sexually and really started to honor how beautiful it is to really be me and how beautiful it is to truly honor that I'm different and that I'm unique and I'm a unique creative being. So in LA, my first job was with a medium. So that opened the door to so many things too, like exploring that side of spirituality. And then
What is it? What do you do as a helping a medium? What is that job like? That's so interesting.
we were setting up the workshops.
Oh,
We
wow.
were, I was, pretty much her bitch. I was just like driving her around.
Okay.
But you get to experience
Yeah.
that stuff and you get to like hear and be in that presence. And I think ultimately what was really interesting was that one of these days, we were in this room with all these people, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm getting someone that has a scar on her face, and she wants to tell her daughter, and her daughter's son is actually here." So it turned out to be my grandma, who actually had committed suicide because of the scar she had on her face. It's multi-layered. We'll just talk about that. It was part of her sickness was how depleting the car accident that she had was, and how it dismantled her face. Anyways, not to get sidetracked about this, but this is a huge part of my healing was having this connection to grandma, and how much of that sadness lingered on through our emotional DNA and how it became really part of me. So LA was a fucking trip. And then I decide we all become addicted to all kinds of things, and then we're all going crazy with the party scene in LA. Still exploring really beautiful things and doing great things, but like we'll go for a hike, and then as soon as we're back from the hike, we'll be smoking a blunt. And then every party we did was all about, drugs and random sex and things. And I got to explore a lot of this human body.
Well put.
To say the least. And then I decided that I wanted to come to New York, and New York happened. Started doing styling work here and there. And then when I was 23, I had the beautiful experience of starting a magazine with two friends, Bullet Magazine. And then after the first issue, because we revived Cindy Crawford. We were put
Your
on
first issue had her.
Yeah, it was Cindy Crawford was the first issue with Mark Ruffalo, and then they were talking about fracking and the pipeline, things that celebrities weren't given the outlet to talk about,
Wow.
and things like the other magazines weren't really wanting to explore,
Yeah.
So that put us on the map. So after the first issue, we're sold out. We're in 12 countries. All those things starts happening. We got this large investment, and we moved into this big office. And out of nowhere, I'm 23 years old and running an office with 45 people and having to take meetings and travel and do all this shit that I was like, what the fuck? I guess I manifested really quickly, which has always been something that I've been good at, like sharpening my mind into what I want, zoning into that point. But then towards fast forward 3.5, 4 years, I was again on that cycle, vicious cycle of things, and one thing led to another, and it was time for me to leave. So I sold my shares and left for Zurich. Everyone's talking about world peace and not being their thoughts or their emotions, and using those aspects of who we are to as a tool, not entirely of who we really truly are, as just guiding forces to help us work through this human experience, right? So it was in Berlin that I had this major awakening. So I came back to New York after that, got rid of all my stuff, went to Florida, started writing about this stuff, and then created this intellectual property of meditation, of yoga, of sustainable living, of spiritual understanding, but through a very intellectual, linear left brain understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided that I need to go to get the experiential understanding. So that's when I left for India. And again, spent in and out of the last 4 years, in and out of India, Nepal, Thailand, Indonesia. And that's when the real transformation started, when I arrived in Dharamshala in the north of India, where His Holiness Dalai Lama lives in exile. So I did a 10-day silent retreat, and that was just like, holy fuck, this Buddha dude has got all the answers. How come I had no clue? You know what I mean? And then after the 10-day, I did a 30-day silent retreat, and that's when I was broken open. That's when I really saw, like, oh my God, I've been this like cunty, narcissistic, egotistic, fear person, driven, anxiety driven, and spreading fear and not spreading love and compassion and kindness and peace, how I could be. And we're spending so much money getting people to buy more things that they didn't need, instead of spreading the love and the light through creating community and conversation. So I had this major awakening, and that's when I decided to continue to study. And through the Buddhist approach, and through the Tibetan Buddhist approach, and understanding the practice of the Mahayana and the Vajrayana lineage, more of the tantric lineages of Buddhism, through His Holiness understanding, he would be in a room with quantum scientists and speaking about Buddhism to quantum scientists. So I was like, this dude has got all the answers, has been able to like merge these hemispheres in such a beautiful, flawless way. And I started to sit back and be like, wow, this is the best time to be alive, because we can actually speak about spiritual topics to very linear, very New York, ambitious people who have this like mathematical and factual way. We actually have the perfect merger of consciousness at this point. So that's when I decided to start to share. So one thing after another, from doing a yoga teacher training to becoming a raw food chef to, you know, sitting in meditation with Lama Zopa Rinpoche for a long time and living in monasteries and ashrams all over India, all over Nepal, and coming back to New York and teaching at the Omega Institute, and then at Maharose, and then becoming a certified health coach. So it was a combination of pieces that allowed me to have this toolkit to be able to share in New York.
Mm-hmm. And you just got back.
Yeah, so July 1st was when I got back officially, was when Lama Zopa said, time to go.
Okay.
Go back to the city, look your best, go to all the parties, spread the Dharma, do the work. So I came back, and I had the incredible, honorable experience to be teaching at the Omega Institute, this curriculum called the Happiness Equation. So it was about the science of happiness. It was about looking at happiness through a physiological, psychological, and spiritual perspective, giving people the tools to really enter the heart, mind, and that connection of heart, mind, body, spirit connection. And then you look at how the embryo of how conception, 3 layers, and how the brain, the heart, and the spinal cord are all sort of developing at the same time. And then you look at all these connections in everything, right, that we have, and the synergy. So anyways, it was just the perfect timing. So from Omega, it was Maharose, and then started spreading it around as much as I could. So it's been fun and incredible, and to be in New York, it's such a beautiful time where people are hungry and curious, and get to meet people like you, and do things together, and everyone here. It's like, oh my God, it's like living the dream.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, it's so powerful to be here at this time, because so many of us are here. So many light workers and change makers are here, and it's a treat. It's a treat. It's hard. It's hard to live in New York.
Ooh, holy shit.
But that's the journey. That's the path we signed up for, and it has to be hard almost, you know, because it just refines the edges.
Oh yeah,
we
get to reach that diamond, actually.
Yeah. Well,
in this human experience.
Yeah. And New York is atop a bed of crystals, which is why the energy here is so amplified.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what is one of your darkest moments that you can share with us, and how you sprung through that into the light?
It was in Nepal. Actually, there's 2 times actually. Maybe there's 3, but we're not going to talk.
Usually many.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about. So I think we'll hold into a couple of them. It was the one in Nepal that I noticed, like, I was able to have distance, and I was able to, like, witness how much I've caused suffering to other people, and how much I've caused suffering to myself. And that just was a chain of events of entering into this, like, state of paralyzed depression almost. And then through adaptogens and cleaning up my diet and meditation, I was able to come out of the dark space and connecting to the teachers and asking for guidance and being vulnerable to share with other people and connecting to other people who have experienced the same trajectory of going as close to the light as possible, but then at that very brink having to, like, work out that kink, untying that crazy knot, you know what I mean? And looking at the subconscious mind and all that yucky, gunky, dusty furniture. I like to talk about the subconscious mind as this huge room. And looking at all this shit that's there and being able to be like, oh my God, how did I get here? Who put all this stuff in here? This furniture is not mine. I didn't paint the walls. I didn't buy the carpet. Who are you people?
I love that metaphor.
That was one. And then another one was when I was in Florida, deep in the work, really deepening my practice after I came back from India the second time. And it was like a switch. All of a sudden, I have this dark cloud on top of me. Like, it was the strangest thing. From doing deep work to all of a sudden have this weight on top of me. And again, diving deep into the practice, I was able to come out of it. But it was a combination of things. It's, again, the holistic approach of association, of breathing right, of meditating, of eating right. And that was able to come out of that aspect of that crazy dark cloud. And through service too, I was going to
say community, and the support and
a lot of the, and then I had these, like, major downloads from Amma Ji, one of my teachers in the south of India, about serving.
She's the hugging saint, right?
Exactly, amongst many things.
Of course, but that's what
she
she's
gives
known
a
for.
good hug. Yeah, she actually taught me a lot, because the first time I met her, she hugged me and she didn't make eye contact with me at all. She barely hugged me. I didn't get an apple. I didn't get a chocolate. I didn't get a mantra. I didn't get anything. And then my brother, who has no connection to spiritual understanding whatsoever, at that point he didn't. Now he's high vision meditator, one of the smartest people I know, and you got to meet him.
He's
like
sweetheart.
a darling.
Yeah.
Amma hugs him and holds his shoulder, gives him eye contact, all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, what about me? Like, I've been doing the work, I don't get anything. But then later on, when I went to see her at her home in her ashram in the south of India, I got to understand that, like, I needed to do that work. I needed to amend the relationship I have with myself. I needed to love myself at these deep places. I needed to meet myself at these really dark, deep places long enough so that way I could be able to meet other people at these deep places.
Yeah.
And this is why the work has been, like, blossoming so fast here, because we've been able to meet ourselves at these deep places enough to be able to talk about our vulnerable shit and be like, yo, I was at the bottom of the pit for so long that I actually crawled out of there. You know what I mean? I didn't just get picked up. I crawled out of there. Yeah. And every single time, every single nudge of dirt that fell as I was growing, as I was getting out of that pit, gave me a new tool, gave me a new understanding. It cleared out another part of my subconscious mind, all these traumas and emotion, behavior that's been holding me back. So yeah, I mean, and then every day we navigate through that space, right? But now it's being able to find that center, coming back to this equanimous state.
And with that, show us your beautiful tattoo, because I've never seen something so beautiful.
Thank you. So it was when I actually got one of my darling's friend, which I can't wait for you to meet, Gabriel. I was on my way to Guatemala to study metaphysics at the Moon School. But he's like, no, I want to go to the source. You take me to India. And I'm sitting at the Omega Institute, like, the first time I was there 2 summers ago, and he's like, take me to India. I want to go and I meet the teachers. I want to do the work. So after we've done the pilgrimage, we were in Goa, doing the more tantric stuff, him and I and my sister decide to get a tattoo together.
Wow.
So the three of us actually have this, and it really brings, there's multiple meanings to it.
It's so powerful.
Thank you.
I want to go to India and get one with you.
Let's do it. I would love to take you to India.
Let's
with
do
me.
it. Seriously.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Is this? It's official because it's
No,
on
it's
camera.
official. It's official.
Okay.
It's official. Yeah, December, January, February. Anyway, we'll figure that
figure
kink
it
out.
out.
But anyway,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. So tell us about the meaning. I mean, what does it mean to you?
Unity,
Okay.
masculine and feminine coming together, and I mean it's so multi-layered.
It is, yeah.
But I think whatever interpretation you have is
Yeah.
what the takeaway is. You know, and I think the work that Buddha really did is bringing the scientific understanding and the spiritual understanding to perfect union. You
Yeah.
know, Buddha said to be the first quantum scientist.
Oh, wow.
So to be able to carry this, not because I'm a Buddhist, but simply because it is such a rooted a philosophy in psychology, understanding of the Buddhist tradition to really sit. You know, the Buddha always said about don't listen to my words, but don't believe me until you do the work yourself. So he really encouraged, and all my teachers really always encourage us to take the knowledge and go turn into wisdom. How do you do that? You sit. You shut the fuck up and you go somewhere quiet and comfortable. They didn't say comfortable, but it's got to be comfortable somewhat, right? Although there's so many austerity that I had to do to be able to meet some of these people, right? But you sit and you do the work. So you self-actualize.
Absolutely.
Which is the most important thing, is not to withhold scientific and intellectual property, but is to transmute and transcend into wisdom, right? Because what good is it to have bits of data turning into information and bits of information turning into knowledge? What good is it to hold a wealth of knowledge if you haven't actualized, if you haven't turned into wisdom?
Exactly.
So this also brings to light that.
I love it. Share a little bit, because one of the first things I remember you sharing is your power in language. You know, you curse, and it's explain that a little bit.
It's taboo. It brings you right back.
Yeah.
It connects you. Because if we're talking and someone's just like spilling out these beans and being really loving and really kind, which is 98% of my vocabulary that I really exercise every day to have that first with me. But when you drop a taboo language, you can actually get people's attention to like focus. If they're drifting off, they're like fuck, cunt, bitch, motherfucker. It brings you right back. And language starts with integrity, right? And a lot of the coaching work I do with my clients is to create integrity with the 3 layers, like speech, intention, speech, and actions. And once you have congruence between these 3 layers, you're really operating from the high vision. You're really operating from your superconscious mind, what some would say the higher self, the Paramatma, the Buddha nature, the God within. You really have alignment to the source.
And I love how you call it taboo, because it is that. I mean, I still struggle with it, to be honest. It's like there's immediate stories that rise up within you when you hear those words, and you're like, oh no, that's bad. And I'm literally thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to put like a warning, strong language on this video.
Please do. Let them know that's the real deal. I mean, life is it's multi-layered.
It is, and I love that. I love that we bring this to the forefront and we talk about this. And I mean, I curse too. I mean, we're humans, and especially in this 21st century, especially in New York, it's like it's almost part of our language now. And I feel like it's so interesting how we're on the precipice of we're hearing our own parents curse now, which I highly doubt that our parents heard their parents curse. So it's so interesting. But so at the LightStyle interview series, we ask, what does LightStyle mean to you?
Oh, I love this question. LightStyle means living with integrity and this moral set of beliefs that have been rewritten, that have been unlearned, that have simple approach to life, compassion, kindness. LightStyle for me, I think, is when we can actually exercise our best qualities every day, which is compassion, forgiveness, courage, patience. I think LightStyle is when we can actually look around us and see the best, the most beautiful aspects in everyone. Because we've seen this within ourselves, right? We're doing our best effort to see ourselves in everyone. I think LightStyle is you. You embody this beautiful light that you walk into a room and you change the space.
Thank you.
By doing nothing, by just being.
Well, we are light. We are light.
LightStyle is less doing, more being.
Exactly.
You know, LightStyle is integrity. LightStyle is compassion, it's service, is being able to find your passion and turn into a purpose. LightStyle is being able to find altruistic, authentic ways to be of service to the collective.
I love it.
Yeah.
One last question I have for you is, if you right now could go back to your 16-year-old self or whatever younger version of yourself you're guided to, what would you tell him?
Oh, honey. This
This
is the work we did last night. This is the work that we did last night. What would I tell him? Wow. Get out of Florida. Go to LA right away and start this unlearning, start this scrubbing, start diving deep, start getting into that point of like truly rewriting your story, you know, because I think Florida was, you know, it was so beautiful and so great that I was able to actually live through that dark period enough that I could come out of that and see the light. But I would just say stay strong and don't really give a fuck what people think. Because as we grow and become confident and realign to our source, right, we actually remember that we need to like not give a fuck to then give a fuck, you know? But first you have to not give a damn in order for you to give a damn. But we forget that it's through separation that you unify. We think it's unification to separation. It's the other way around, right? So I think Florida is the 16-year-old, oh, poor thing.
I know, the inner child work is
I would
deep.
tell him to, in a funny way, I would say, get the fuck out of Florida, get out to LA immediately. And secondly, I would say that, you know, really, you know, trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. And stop eating like shit because you're cluttering your mind. And I loved McDonald's. I loved all that crappy food.
I think all of us went through that period when we were younger. It was, I mean, how could you not? It was just marketed for that.
And growing up in Brazil, McDonald's was like luxury.
Yeah.
So coming to America was like $5. It was like every day. Oh my God, I have a luxury meal every day. It was like, what the fuck?
I love it. Oh my gosh. Just explain a little bit what you do now through, you have Sah D'Simone as a health coach and transformational coach and meditation teacher. In a little snippet, how do you shine your light into the world now?
Okay, workshops, private, corporate. This, I'm starting to get more into videos, and I think Instagram has been a huge platform for me to speak about my healing path. But my work really lies on getting people to clean up their gut, learn how to breathe again, and learn how to sit quietly and meet themselves at these deep places. So it's really that combination, right? Mind, body, spirit.
Absolutely.
But it really has to start with a clean gut, because you can't tell me that you're speaking to God when your gut's inflamed. It's just like, I'm going to tell you that you're, you know, disconnected to reality because your candida is overgrowing. You know what I mean?
True. So true.
So it's getting people to not only learn how to meditate, but to breathe right and to exercise, but to really learn to have a clean gut, because that the vagus nerve, that connection of gut, heart, and brain is, you know, is as real as it gets.
You're so knowledgeable on so many levels, and especially on the really deep-rooted inner health and connection to spirit. So I honor you for all that you're doing and teaching people how to really connect, but on in a holistic way, which, yeah, I do as well, and I just appreciate it so much when others understand that it's all connected. Everything is connected. So thank you so much for all the work that you do, for being the beautiful soul that you are. I love you so much, and it was so fun to share this space with you and shine a light on you.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to quickly say one thing. Everyone's on a different path.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone's on a different path. Whatever works for you might not work for somebody else. And it's not about being a vegan or being a raw foodist or this or that. It is finding what works for you.
Bio-individual.
Exactly. and finding people, community,
Yeah.
accountability, you know.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
I love
and
you. Thank you.
have been an incredible angel in my life. So I'm truly grateful for you. Thank you.
I love you. If you like this episode of the LightStyle interview series, please share with your friends and family, and don't forget to hit subscribe.